in New York City. I just got back quite recently, and excited to be back in the city for now. But hey, everyone. Hey, Sarah. Sarah, awesome pic. I saw you in your Bioness and the new boots. That's so cool. I hope you're enjoying it. Tawnie began momentarily.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, maybe
Welcome.
I shouldn't have done that. Can you see me?
Not yet. It's still loading.
Okay.
But I can hear you.
I know, I can hear you, but like I'm not on your live. Like that's so.
I hope you're enjoying it so far. Let's see if Tawnie. Wait, are you not? We're not on the live yet. It's still loading.
Okay.
But I can hear you.
I know, I can hear.
Can you hear me now?
I sent a new request.
Like that's. Oh, okay. What the heck? But all right. Let's see if that works. Are you not? We're not. Right, sorry, everyone. We are trying to get Tawnie on. Let us know, everyone, where you are tuning in from. We love to hear where everyone is watching this live from. Is it allowing you to join, Tawnie? Everyone, we are trying to get Tawnie on.
It says
let us know,
sent.
Everyone, where you are tuning in from. And I clicked accept. Oh, no.
Hold on. I'm just going to close everything. We're just going to come back in, guys. Solution always. It's just being. I know, you're like Tawnie. Like, it shows that I'm live with her.
So I was a singer before the stroke, but unfortunately after, I'm not really able to as much. Hola, Francisco, ¿qué tal estás? April, hello. I know, so I was just...
It says my request wasn't sent. It shows that I'm live with Maddie right now, but I'm not. Okay. Like, how is that?
Such an Ontario. There we are, Tawnie.
That was so weird. I closed out of Instagram and came in, and it showed me that I was live with you, yet I wasn't.
That's so weird.
So I apologize, you guys.
Sorry, everyone, but yeah, now we're back.
I saw some questions. Did you have a stroke from a brain aneurysm? So mine was from a brain aneurysm. Maddie's was actually from an AVM.
AVM rupture. But yes, we both had strokes. We both had hemorrhagic strokes.
Yes.
But it's interesting because they affected us differently. No stroke is the same, and every brain is different, is one thing that I have taken away from this experience going through it myself.
Absolutely. In fact, if you are on and you are a fellow stroke survivor or anything, can you say what age you were? Because I think it's so important, because that's why I was misdiagnosed, because I was 28 when my brain aneurysm ruptured. And like Maddie said, we both had hemorrhagic strokes.
Exactly. Yes. So we both had hemorrhagic strokes. So wait, I see. What is it? Do you know the username, Tawnie, for our guest?
I sent her a message right before, and she actually did not respond. Here, I'll send it again. It says she's active 1 hour ago, so I don't know if something came up.
Yeah, or maybe she... Well, whatever. Yeah. We'll just start talking about stuff until if our guest joins. Yeah. Otherwise, we can
there she is. There she is. Oh, yay.
Perfect.
Okay. Mom.
Are you able to submit a request to join the live, and we can bring you on? Today we are going to do an interview with another survivor.
5-time brain aneurysm survivor. So, Mom CEO Inspire, if you can send a request.
Oh, here we go. Yep, I got it. I just clicked accept. So, Mom CEO Inspire is joining. Just sit tight for a minute, everyone, while we get her on. And there we are. Hello.
Welcome. So perfect timing. We were just kind of getting started and going over what age, because I think that is what's so shocking to most people. You know, they're like, oh, I didn't know that didn't happen until people were older. And so you have had 5 brain aneurysms. So I will let you tell your story.
Yes.
And of course, we'll have some questions.
Thank you. Glad to be here. So I was 22.
Okay.
And I was living with a roommate at the time. And I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning with the worst headache of my life.
Yep.
I'm talking about someone is drilling my temples. So I wake up, my roommate is playing video games, and they're like, oh, just take some Advil, go back to sleep. Maybe, something's up in the air. Maybe you're going to get sick. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. You're right. I took Excedrin, which was the worst thing you can possibly do, which is why we believe actually made the, small leak. So then I was a teller at the time. I went to work the next day and then I threw up. And I'm like, no, something's wrong. Something is not right. I told my boss, I'm like, listen, I'm going to go to the doctor. I don't feel well. Let's fast forward everything. I went to my PCP. My PCP immediately recommended my neurologist. My neurologist recommended an MRI and this is within the same week. Because he's like, there's something wrong. You're not pregnant. You're not hungover. Everything seems right. He did, the test, the neurological test. He's like, I need you to do an MRI because you're 22 and you're going to be having these headaches.
Yeah.
That happened on
Wait,
a Saturday.
this is you. So you're. I'm sorry. I just realized we totally didn't even do like name and age, all that. Do you mind just backtracking for a minute for the people joining?
I'm Lonnie. I had a brain aneurysm rupture at 22. I had 2 brain surgeries, 2014, 2015, and those 2 covered all 5. So now I just got re-diagnosed with 4 more.
Okay, wow.
Because they grow, we develop new ones. The percentage of getting regrowth is 20%, and I fell into that 20%.
Lonnie, so you had aneurysm and it ruptured, and then you grew 4 more.
I've had 5. So in 2014, I got diagnosed with 5.
Okay.
And one of them ruptured, which is why I had the headache. When my neurologist saw the MRI, he basically called his colleagues and rushed me to NYU. And then in NYU, I got diagnosed. I live in New York. I'm from New York. So I got diagnosed.
Whereabouts in New York do you live, Lonnie?
So I was born in Brooklyn. I grew up out of Queens. And now my husband moved us out to Jersey.
Oh, where in New Jersey? That's where I grew up.
About South Hackensack.
Okay, nice. Yeah, you're in Bergen County. All right, I grew up in Morris County in Chatham.
So that's that.
Maybe I'm not good at directions. Maybe it might be a little bit. It's North Jersey. North Jersey.
I've been here 6 years. I just know how to get to the Target on Main Street.
Yeah, nice. And we've traded because I live in the city.
Oh, nice. Where?
I live in Manhattan, Upper West Side.
So we're very close.
I know. We're very close. Next time you're around, send me a message.
Definitely. I want to take the kids to walk the Brooklyn Bridge.
Oh my gosh, I love doing that. That's so fun.
So
my favorite in New York.
I just wanted to hit a couple questions because some people are like, wow, my son had emergency surgery at Barrows. They said Andrew will need to have another brain aneurysm. So didn't know you could have multiple. So I know you talked about that. I know they told me that there was a 20% chance. So now that you said, and so you just had another scan and they told you that you have more. So are you monitoring them? Are you waiting? Because that's what I think a lot of people don't understand is it doesn't always mean surgery. Like we are all so different. We are all so unique in our diagnosis, in our journey and everything like that. So I would just love if you could share a little bit if you feel comfortable.
No, I'm an open book. This is like a very big, I always speak about it because people don't know.
Yeah.
People don't know. And they see us young females, energetic, because we're bubbly. And they're like, you're not sick. You're fine. And I'm like, I've had the worst headache of my life this morning. Worst headache of my life. But I'm here. So let's not dwell on the bad. But yeah, so my neurologist, my neurosurgeon basically told me that I have 2 options. Either stent them, but because there's 4 and they're on both sides of the brain, I got to go through this multiple times. The procedure has to be done every 6 months. So this is an 18-month-old treatment, basically.
Wow.
And he says it's not urgent. We don't got to do it tomorrow because none of them are leaking. Yeah. But the sooner we get to them, the better. Mm-hmm. So then he also says we can leave them alone. But I wouldn't recommend it just because you had a rupture before. Yeah. You have your
like it could happen again.
Yeah, your body has done it once before. Let's not.
Like, and in a temper tantrum, we know better than anyone. We can't do temper tantrums. Yeah. We can't do temper tantrums. A temper tantrum will kill us faster than a bullet. So he goes, you got toddlers, your life is hectic. I think you should get this fixed, Mom.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You can't
makes sense.
And that's just, I appreciate you saying that, because it's people like, what do you mean? Like they say that, oh, it's emergency, but not really. Like, hey, let's handle this, but we want to just.
You're not leaking.
Yeah.
Emergency, like, let's get going.
Especially with your history. And I do really I think it was Miss M said it's been 1.5 years and people told me the best recovery happens in the first 3 to 6 months. So it's discouraging. But then I read about people getting better later. And I just would love to hear your take on that, because I know we all have something to say, because that's BS.
Exactly.
Yes, we hate when they say that. Like,
my recovery was rough. Besides the rupture that they caught prior to the surgery, another one happened during surgery. So my open brain surgery, the first one lasted about 9 hours, if I remember correctly. And then the second one, 6 months later, lasted only about 4. So it was a huge difference. So because the first one was so rough, because I had 2 ruptures, I had to learn everything again. I had to learn how to talk, how to chew, how to blink with, because my eyes would dry up because you're just there, swollen all the time. Mm-hmm. And then they kept prolonging my release. They're like, no, we need. I even had to do physical therapy in the hospital. Yeah, it was rough. And then my doctor every single day, an apple a day, Lonnie, an apple a day, because the apple a day would just basically re-trigger my chewing because it was so hard because of the rupture. So this entire part of my face was swollen. Right. Recovery is rough. Some people recover in 3 months, and that's amazing. Other people recover 6 months, and that's okay. Your recovery is based on your body and also on everything we put in our bodies. The second time I recovered a lot faster because I was like, okay, I can't be eating junk food 3 months before my surgery, guys. So I started a protein-based diet 3 months prior once I started recovering very well from the first one.
And
I just want to briefly interject because I see the Miss has said, thank you for seeing my comment. I'm really struggling to stay strong. I feel like everyone is recovering fast and I'm still working on standing up and walking. Everyone has their own pace, and kind of like to add on to what Lonnie was just saying, our brains have neuroplasticity and recovery can always happen. I'm 7 years old and I'm still finding I'm able to do things that I couldn't do before. And, recovery can always happen and everyone moves at their own pace. So that's just what I wanted to chime in to say about that. I know it can be hard to not compare yourself to other people, but every brain is different. Every recovery journey is different. And all we can do is just keep taking one step at a time and keep moving forward.
And I like to share this about recovery. Everyone wants it to be faster. You think you should be further along. You want it. You feel like you're moving really slowly. So that is one reason you don't need to share it with the world, but documenting for yourself to see that you are making progress, because you are. And I know it is a struggle, but like everyone said, please don't compare yourself to other people. And it does always seem like they bounced back so fast. Why didn't I? Because also social media is a highlight reel too. So you're only seeing all of that.
Exactly. You see the highlights.
And I look back, what's really interesting is there's only one picture of me where I have my eye patch off and you see my eye crossed in. There are no photos of me. I always had it covered. I didn't even realize that I was doing that. And any video you find me, I was being silly and I had a filter on my face. I was masking and covering how much pain I was in and all of that stuff. So just because you see a video of me being like peace sign at the grocery store, like half of those things the second after I almost passed out because I was in so much pain. Like this happened. So like please be so much kinder to yourself. And when they say the 3 to 6 months, it's also because most of the studies only study people the first 6 months. They don't always see. We recover years later, like Maddie said, 4 years out, 5 years out, 6 years out.
Years and years later, we still can.
Yeah.
I want to piggyback off that. Recovery for everyone exactly is completely different, but it's so worth it to be graceful with yourself, because not only is your body healing, your mind is healing, your health is healing, your mental state is healing. 10% of it, when they say 10% is physical and 90% is mental, baby girl, it is. On the days that you just want to give up, just breathe and go, you know what, but I'm here. I'm here. I was 22 years old when I got diagnosed, a baby. And all of that.
Literally.
Oh, you're young. Come on. I'm like, okay, if you can carry me, I'll get up. Oh, and I was a sassy 22-year-old. I was like, you can carry me, get up. I was a New Yorker.
Good. You needed and that sass.
All these doctors like, oh, but you're a baby. No. Like the recovery for each individual injury. They say that after a brain injury, your recovery is lifetime.
Yep. You're recovering for the rest of your life.
Put it perfectly. It's a lifelong journey.
Sometimes, like, I'll remember this when I tell my husband, I'll remember this, and then my brain will switch it off, and you guys will be on the other side, and I'm like, wait, did I remember it this way? Apparently that happens to brain injuries. Have you ever watched a Netflix show and then rewatched it days later and figured it out that it was flipped? Scariest shit in the world. My husband's like, that didn't happen to me. I spoke to another one that she's like, yeah, I did the same thing. It just, we remember it flipped, mirrored.
I love Miss Meme said, wow, I really need to talk with other survivors. I feel understood. First time in ages. It's so lonely. That's why we share.
That's why we're all here.
Is because of that. And the diagnosis, it's also what the doctors say to you. Every one of us, I bet, has heard them say, I don't know, you're so different. So you just keep hearing that from the medical professionals. So of course, logically, you're like, why am I going to reach out to anyone? They're not going to get it. So I'm just like,
and then like Mogatti said, tired of all the non-stroke people saying, but you are so young. And Lonnie, you, of course, can relate. I was also 22 when this happened. And it's like, people are like, wait, but you were like a kid. And like, it happens to people younger than us. It happens to babies. Like, stroke does not care about your age or anything.
I heard a horrible story of a 10-year-old. She was, and it happened in the shower and it erupted.
Yep.
And that was the scariest story I've heard. And I'm like, okay, I'm good. I don't want my fear anymore. I'm okay.
And I'm
because it's heartbreaking. Like, it's heartbreaking. But our condition doesn't see age, race, gender. Are you happy? Are you rich? Are you poor?
Exactly.
Wow. If you could go back and tell early recovery yourself, like, what would you say? Like something, like a takeaway.
Documents everything. Like you mentioned, you requested, you told her, you recommended, document it. Because 10 years later, you might not remember every detail. But when they ask you, when you get diagnosed yet again, it's like, holy shit, I got to do this all over again. Okay, what do I remember? What worked? What didn't? But documents everything. And it's okay. It's okay that you don't want to go out and celebrate somebody's birthday. It's okay that you don't want to be involved in everyone's life. It's okay. My condition made me a social butterfly, but in the most introvert way.
Right? You're like, you share the most intimate things online with everyone. So everyone's like, you're so out there. But I'm like, I'm also actually very shy. And like, not an, I'm like, people are like, what do you do on an average day? I'm like, I stay home with my animals. I'm pretty lame. Like, I'm not, but I talk to people all over the world. And like, I actually, so that's really
staying home with animals is not lame.
But I just mean, I feel like, some people.
My German Shepherd would agree.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I'm really glad you talked about saying no to things, because I think that was something early on, especially being young. You feel like I have to get back to those things. Like I mean, I was so worried about my friend's wedding and being in her wedding.
Yes.
Like, I'm coming out of brain surgery and I'm like, can I be in her wedding? And I look back now and I'm like, they should just been like, girlfriend, just sit in the audience. Like, it is not that big of a deal. But like, I was up there almost passing out. It was not a great time,
Oh
but
my
like
God.
I did it.
It's okay to say no to things,
Yeah.
and that's a big lesson. It's kind of hard for me to learn too, like, because I just want to do everything, and even after the stroke, I'm like, I have such limited time, right? Like, my time is valuable. This is like time that's given back to me, so I feel like I need to make the most of every moment I have. But like, we do also need to rest. We do also need to heal. We do also need to allow ourselves the time to process. And part of recovery, I think, is not just like we don't always need to push ourselves all the time. Like, sometimes we just need to take breaks. At least I need to take breaks.
Absolutely.
100%. And so Miss Meme said, I'm in a nursing home and most stroke survivors here are in their 70s, hardly any other young ones. It's so different from us. Yes. Like, young survivors, because we have to have so many different issues that and they kept saying that. They're like, I don't know, you're so young. I don't know. And you're just like, okay, well.
But like, that's not an excuse.
That's,
I hate when people say that. It's like, yeah, I'm young. Like, so it happens to young people too.
So because you're,
it can't be any less seriously.
Just because somebody asked, are you all stroke survivors? Yes, because your brain aneurysm ruptured, so hemorrhagic stroke. Yes, so all three of us had hemorrhagic strokes, but Maddie's was from an AVM. So
yes, a little different, but Loco is a 4-year stroke survivor. That's amazing. Congratulations. Cheers to many more years.
And besides sending good vibes your way for your next surgery, and please keep us posted, and we'll definitely want to do like a follow-up interview.
Definitely.
Is there anything else you would like to share with us or anybody watching the replay, or how they can connect with you? Is Instagram the best way?
Yeah, Instagram. I'm always on it. I have this one and also Medicating Mommy. Because
Mommy, what is your Instagram handle? Can we type it into
it's Mom CEO Inspire.
Okay.
And then when we post it, well, just because when we post it, it'll be like right there, so people can just like click, and then I'll make sure it's in the.
Yeah, so they can do that, or they can go. The other page is very THC based because that's pain management. It's pain management.
Yeah.
It's been the only thing that helps mine. And I don't know if you feel this way, but I go, after living through an aneurysm that ruptured and one that didn't, I don't want to take your pain meds that knock me out. I need to be aware. And this helps me. It's like giving me a blanket instead of just knocking me out, which is what you guys want to do. So like, I'm going to take my plant-based medicine all day, every day.
I started my plant-based medicine treatment 7 years ago. So I'm a survivor for 10, and then I did it 3 years later because they all wanted to pump me up with meds. And I'm like, okay, stop.
Yeah, like there's got to be another way.
I didn't like it. I wasn't functional. I was literally on autopilot. So I hated it. And we went through, and they go through meds. Like they go, okay, let's try this one. Let's try this. I'm like, okay, enough. I couldn't. It was messing everything. It was messing my moods, my kidneys, my everything. I was like, okay, no. I did 3 years of this, enough. So then my neurologist goes, do THC. I'm like, seriously? Was that? Why was
I didn't know that was an option.
Because I kept complaining to him. And he's like, all right, let's start you on THC. Let's start the oil. And then that began. And then now as a parent, I continuously doing it because me arguing with my 5-year-old toddler because he talked back will rupture an aneurysm.
Oh my God.
I pick up and I'm like, like gentle parent.
Yeah, gentle parent. Oh my gosh.
I
know we have a couple questions actually. No, wow. It's so how do you all continue to gain cognitive function? So what are things you do? For me, like in the beginning, it was a lot of like I would play like games on my phone, like puzzles and stuff like that, because they did not give me occupational therapy or stuff like that. So I know a lot of people do things. I know Maddie, I'm gonna shout her out. She does a lot of stuff like around the house and like things like that to like work on
and
stuff.
Like the big one initially for me was like writing my books. Yeah. I'm an author, and like I wanted to do something that was more practical and like relevant and important to my life. And when I worked on my 2 books, like all the skills that you need are important cognitive skills to be able to like conduct interviews, to organize your thoughts and plan and, you know, execute on the writing and the editing and all of that. So I found like having a project that was important to me made it easier for me to engage my cognitive faculties, because like I hated therapy. So I wanted to do something that was relevant and important to me. So yeah, I recommend finding something like that. Like for me, it was writing.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, good thing I was forced back to work. So I worked in special education with kids at school. So, I mean, I was reading, writing, I was basically going back to school. So that really helped me pick up a lot of those skills. So I'm sure with your kids, you're teaching them things. And sometimes are you finding you're like, I'm like, sometimes they would be like, Miss Tawnie, is that the right answer? I'm like, we're going to find out, buddy. Like, we are literally going to count this out together because you are adding and subtracting. And like, I'm like at your level right now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We have like, because my husband originally wanted to do homeschooling. So we set up the entire basement for it. Wow. And I looked at him and I'm like, honey, I'm in no way, shape, or form trained for this. Like, I want him to be the best. And if I'm learning with him, that I felt like I couldn't do it. So we mainstreamed him, but we did everything downstairs. So in summer vacation, that's my jam. We go and we do our ABCs and we teach it with our daughter as well. So it's a whole school-based thing. And I do a lot of puzzles with them. That's how I stay.
Oh my gosh, puzzles.
Yeah, puzzles saved my life for everything during therapy. Because it's needed to like just put one and one together. Because
puzzles are really great therapy. I just happen to hate them. So not for me, but find what works for you. Puzzles are
and I mean all kinds of puzzles. We're talking about like the picture puzzles, but also the like domino puzzles, and it's just a whole bunch of I was puzzles obsessed.
I love that.
And then board games also. Board games is great therapy. Monopoly, man.
Last 2 questions.
Oh yeah, sorry, we got like
there's like a couple few questions. Yeah. Drew, when you weren't able to communicate, when people talked around you and you listened to their conversations, did you understand and receive everything lousy like before your stroke? My processing is different. That's why I record the doctor's appointments, because I will say yes, and then on the drive home, I always go, wait, Mom, did he say? And she's like, yeah. It's like I just processed it. Like I understand you, and I say yeah, but like it's not always all there. So definitely a lot slower. And even though I never lost the ability to talk, and I was still very aware and lucid, it was very interesting how much the doctors would talk to my mom like I wasn't and it was like I was like, excuse, like, I'm still the patient, like you should still talk to me. And I told her that like it was really irritating how much like they come in and they just like talk to her like I'm not even there, like about me.
Yeah, they do that to me with my husband. They speak to my husband, and I'm like, hey,
you're like, I'm right here, I'm the patient.
I've been through this. Like this last diagnosis, and I'm like, hey, hi, we weren't married then, so this is my 3rd time. Talk to me. This is my 3rd rodeo. Talk to me. And like
exactly, like you're no stranger.
I talk to everyone just because you're gonna process it a little bit differently than he is. You know, we'll bounce ideas off each other. I'm like, then we take the extra minute to process it together.
I love that. And ladies, do you have?
So loud.
Do you have any hot tips for
clothes shopping? I do a lot of shopping online now, like more so than I did before. But I do occasionally like to go I kind of gives me anxiety sometimes to be like trying on a bunch of outfits in the store. So I try to avoid that if I can, but like sometimes, you know, if I'm out shopping, like whatever, I don't want to have to deal with returning it. So I might step into the dressing room, but I do a lot of like online shopping, and I'll return that way. Like for me, I find that enjoyable because I can browse different, types of clothing, different patterns, colors, etc. And so, I can do it at my own leisure. So I like online shopping a lot.
Same. I really rarely go to a mall. Yeah.
Only for food, only grocery shopping.
But I don't even do the grocery shopping anymore. My husband does. I do once in a while, and you know what inevitably happens? Like I get overwhelmed. I end up getting stuff that I didn't need. I always get stuff that I do, and then I forget the one flipping thing you went there for. Like I went there. Does staring at my hand work to get my hand to open intentionally? Maddie, I feel like that's probably more of a question.
So arm to open intentionally, I say try everything with your affected arm. Like every movement that you make, like even if it doesn't look as good as you want it to, like it's one coin being deposited into your like brain piggy bank, and those coins will like add up and lead to rewiring. But it doesn't happen overnight. So I would just say put in the effort. Use it or lose it is something my occupational therapist would always say to me, and it's true. Like you don't use one side of your body, or you don't put in the effort, like try to move it around or do whatever, like it's never going to get better or anything. So
body emotion stays emotion.
But I do know that
exactly,
the mirror,
yes,
that there is mirror work, and I know Tracy specifically, she still can't feel her left hand, but she can lift weights with it by watching in a mirror, and she can like override. And so definitely look around. And then this is for Maddie. How difficult was it for you to get the BioNest 300? I know she'll tell you to message her, and she's gonna give you some really
awesome message me about that, because that's a big topic. But I was just trying to type there too. Send me a DM. But yes, I love the BioNest. I have a bunch of different like brace type things. I have the BioNest. I have the Psionic Neural Sleeve. I have an AFO. I hate the AFO, but I have one. So for me, it's all just about options. So I like, like depending on what I'm wearing, like maybe I'll wear the BioNest. Maybe I'll wear the Psionic sleeve. Maybe I'll wear my AFO. Like it really just, and it depends how I'm feeling as well. So definitely happy to talk more about that. But I know we're coming up on time.
Yes,
so just send me a message. I'm happy to chat with anyone more about any of this stuff.
And join us next Sunday. Let us know. Our inboxes are all open. And if you would like to be interviewed, if you would love to share your story, please let me and Maddie know. And thank you so much for your time and coming on and sharing.
Thank
you are amazing.
Thank you for having me, girls.
Thank you. And let me know next time you're in the city.
I can't wait.
I'm going to call you right now.
We'll meet up. All right. Bye, everyone. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.